Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Smackdown review. What was this? This was the U.S. Title tournament show, basically. There was very little else on here. Very sloppy build-up to the Royal Rumble. It's like you wouldn't even think that a Royal Rumble is happening in 2 weeks. When Raw came on, I didn't even know when the Rumble was. I thought it was actually this Sunday. Turns out it's going to be the following Sunday. And when you don't know when a pay per view is, like you knew the years ago when WrestleMania was, you knew like every pay per view on the calendar. You would count down the days to Road to WrestleMania. Those were going to be the best shows of the year. Nowadays, they're just throwaway shows. How could you be on the road to the Super Bowl of sports entertainment and not be excited for it? How can they have a show where they're not even putting any effort into it, and these are supposed to be their best shows? People even say it. Even people who admit that the product sucks, they say that these are the best shows of the year, and that's just not true. These are just as bad as any other shows throughout the year. To say that they don't care, they're not really doing anything on any of these shows, really. One or two things. Like on Raw, they put everything they had into Braun Strowman. Everybody else, the hell with them. All the other main eventers, we're not going to build them up. Here on this SmackDown show, I mean, we started off with Jinder Mahal defeating Xavier Woods. And, to think that Xavier was going to win this match. And all I could say is looking at this, what else can I say besides New Day being completely washed up, overdone, overused? The jokes are as lame as it gets. Where is this team even going? I mean, they've given these guys already in the span of a couple of years too many title runs to even count. And what do they have to show for their act? This stale beyond belief. The pancakes, trombones, cereal. I mean, they've went through everything they possibly can with these people. And it is, I mean, it's run its course already. It was funny for about a month or two, and then they just went off the deep end with these guys. They started merchandising every single little thing with these guys, and it got to the point already where enough was enough already with these people. Enough with these guys. If they were going to do something unique each and every week, but it became the same deal, acting like a bunch of goofballs. It was funny at first because, we don't get a lot of characters here nowadays in the WWE. So when something different comes along, we naturally gravitate to it. Oh, this is different. Something else is happening out of the norm. So, of course, we're going to say that, this is better. It's not necessarily good, but it's better than what they're doing. Now it's just enough is enough already, and I just want to fucking kill each and every one of these guys. I mean, seriously. And I think to myself every week how awesome it would be to have Big E just destroy all these guys, just crush Xavier and Kofi. And it's funny how years ago people were calling for Kofi Kingston to be world champion. Do people still really think that? I remember a couple of years ago when Kofi Kingston pinned Orton on Raw, in a clean win. I couldn't even believe it. He hit his finisher and he pinned Orton when he was champion. I was saying that was back in 2013. I was saying to everybody, I said, how ridiculous that is. I said, why would they even give a win to Kofi? He didn't deserve it. And, now you kind of look how things are going. So, do the Kofi fans, are you still out there in the YWC? Let me know. Backstage, I had AJ Styles cutting a promo with Renee Young. And, AJ's promos when he was a heel, I don't know what it was, but he is such a lame motherfucker as a baby face. He starts saying how he's sick of hearing about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And, we also have to talk about that. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were nowhere to be found on this show besides a video package. The guys in the main event for the SmackDown main event weren't even on this show 2 weeks before the Rumble. What is this? Would you see this back in the day, even a couple of years ago? It's like they think it's okay just because they put a video package together. I mean, it's bad enough that this is not a good match. That this is not acceptable for the Royal Rumble. This is not up to par with past Rumble main events. You want to put your best foot forward, or one of your best foots forward at least, for the Rumble, because it is, arguably the second or third most important event that WWE will put on. It's the match that has a lot of determining factors for WrestleMania. Or it did at one point, in theory at least. And you're going to tell me that your challengers are not going to be on the show? That AJ is not interacting with these? This is a whole big feud. It's we're told in the video package this is a feud that's been mounting. And it has. I mean, AJ only wrestled Owens at least 1,000 times last year. And now they're not even on the show. But listen to this promo that he cuts. He calls them Cammy in it. He's going back and forth with the names, and they made like he accidentally said Cammy. Oh, I looked at it at first, the video online, and it said Kami to me. I'm thinking he's talking about Kami from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, like, in all seriousness, I already knew where it was going. He was going to come up with some type of cutesy name for them. He says, "Oh, that sounds good." No, that does not sound good. Cammy? I mean, trying to make it like a Brangelina type of thing. I mean, that made him sound so lame. Did anybody actually like laugh at this segment? Be honest with me. Did anybody laugh or chuckle or smile during this segment? If you do admit to it, I'm sorry. I'm still not going to be nice. You have the mind of a fucking child. That was probably one of the worst all-time jokes I ever heard a wrestler say in any fucking promo. That was bad. That was very, very bad. And whoever wrote that, if that was AJ's idea, God help him. I mean, this is hopeless. I mean, at least when Jinder was champion, he was cutting promos that at least sounded decent. Here you're getting Cammy. This is the trade-off here. Y'all wanted to see AJ and Brock Lesnar in a match, and this is what we get. At least when Jinder was champion, there was a bit more to SmackDown. Now it's like I feel like, AJ didn't seem like a world champion standing backstage. He just didn't. He just sounded like a lame-ass babyface. For people who knocked Jason Jordan on Raw, at least he's getting over the fact that he's supposed to be a bit nerdy and lame. AJ's supposed to be cool. And who the hell else is sick of him saying, "This is the house that AJ Styles built"? That would have been good if he said it one or two times. But every single time the guy's in the promo, it ain't that good. He's making like, this is his, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and that's the bottom line. This is not as good as that. This is a line that they want to try to get, they're still trying to get over. The crowd says it with him, but that's because they like AJ. They're throwing him a bone. They're saying his catchphrase with him, and it is pretty fucking lame, to say the least. I mean, he's not coming across as a cool champion. He's not coming across as a guy, that you look at and say he looks, he looks like a star. I'd say this. I've said more positive shit than any of the marks here in the YWC about AJ Styles. Back when he was having his matches with Roman Reigns, I said AJ is, doing a great job as champion, but that's when he was a heel. It is quite obvious that, I remember in TNA when this guy was having a real problem getting over as a heel, and he didn't have that problem in WWE. He was doing a phenomenal pun not really intended, job of being a heel. But a babyface, it's this creative team. It's got to be the garbage that they're writing from because it sounds fucking awful. I mean, how can we really get behind a guy when he's talking about Cammy? For God's sakes. Then you had Bobby Roode defeat Mojo Rawley. And, this is another problem I have. You want to try to get Mojo over. You want to try to do something with him to break out from a tag team. That's all fine and well. Even if the tag team wasn't really that popular, at least Mojo's showing some fire. He's showing some angst. He's trash talking people during matches, which is reminiscent of Bubba Ray Dudley. But you're just going to beat him here just like that. And I know you're going to say, oh, Bobby Roode's the more over of the two. Be that as it may. I mean, if you're trying to establish this guy, why are you just having Mojo lose a big match right off the bat? Like I said, I've said this for how long here, on this channel. If you're going to try to build a star, you have to have these guys rack up some wins. You have to have them go on a winning streak. You can't just introduce a new character or start pushing somebody and then the very next week having them lose or look weak in a segment. There's no consistency. There's no momentum, is what I always say. None of these guys have that classic momentum where you would not see a guy being pushed lose for months. He would go the better part of a year mostly winning his matches because, to have him lose or you would put him in a spot where he would be protected. You were not protecting Mojo here at all. And that's a real shame because I think Mojo's actually been looking pretty good. And since they turned him heel, I've noticed a lot of improvement. It seemed like a guy that was waiting to just break out and kind of show us what he was made of, and he just wasn't able to do that in the Hype Bros. It was just too lame, and the whole hype gimmick just wasn't befitting of a guy that looks like Mojo. After the match, you had the Singh brothers attacking Bobby Roode. Jinder came out. He says, Roode said he wants to have the match right now. He said that he's going to do it on his time. They'll have it next week. Daniel Bryan comes out and makes the match and says the match is going to be for tonight. I thought they were going to put that shit at the Rumble, but I guess, it's like this tournament came and went, and it just felt horrible. Like I don't know what it is, what they could have done to make it feel better, but it's just the participants in it. I mean, this was pretty fucking lousy. I mean, you had Aiden English, Xavier Woods in this thing. I mean, people that you would never see or even think about as being champions, especially U.S. champion. I mean, it'd be different if this was like the European Championship back in the day and you were putting people who would wrestle on Sunday Night Heat and Velocity on the show. Now you're going to tell me that you're going to just stack it full. I mean, all these matches were predictable. It really showed how shallow the SmackDown roster is. I mean, if we're going to go with putting these secondary belts on people that after they've already won world titles, why did we not see John Cena or Randy Orton in this tournament? I just to book them for one match, just for one night, just to have it feel a bit more special. This felt really B-list. This felt Z-list. This felt like it didn't even feel like a tournament for a major title. It just felt like it was rushed. And quite frankly, it didn't even make sense. Why did Dolph Ziggler give up the belt? I mean, I thought maybe they were going to do something with Ziggler, maybe interfering in the last match of the tournament, but you're going to see that didn't even happen. So Bryan makes the match. Backstage, the Usos are being interviewed. Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, they attack the Usos. And I got to say, Chad Gable talked here, and he sounded a bit more manly. The did not come through. Whatever they did or told Chad to do, or however Chad was doing his voice during this little segment, that's how he should sound. You know, like I said, I've never knocked Chad. You know, the guy, he's got credentials that they could sell this guy on. You know, he's a bit small, but that's okay. You know, like I said, there's guys like Neville, I said, who obviously, Daniel Bryan, for example. I never once said that if somebody is short or, you know, on the light side, that they can't get over. I said that maybe they shouldn't be having these guys, you know, be in situations that are totally unbelievable. Like, you know, like we shouldn't be seeing them beating the Undertaker or anything like that. But, you know, you could do something with Chad Gable. It's just they need to watch that man's voice. I mean, whatever it is, when it gets in the higher register, he sounds fucking awful. And he sounded a bit better here. So whatever he was doing, just keep him on that current course. We had some videos throughout the night. You know, we saw the women. They were like holding a video camera or a cell phone, taking videos of themselves, cutting little promos. I mean, it was an interesting idea instead of having it like, you know, be an established backstage interview. So I'll give them credit for that. They were doing more promotion for the mixed match challenge, and I have to say how ridiculous it is. You know, whatever it was on Raw, whatever they were showing, that fuck boy Balor doing his stupid pose he does on social media, where he's doing like that freeze frame shit with Sasha Banks. How lame! I mean, you're seeing heels posing with other baby faces. They're palling around. We saw Braun Strowman palling around with Alexa Bliss. I mean, this is enough to make anybody sick to their stomach. I mean, holy shit. I mean, this is lame stuff right here. This mixed match challenge. It's like, I hope this, whatever it is, it bombs. I'm not watching this on Facebook. I hope nobody else does. I mean, this is not worth anybody's time. Who would want to watch this stuff anyway? I mean, you already have 5 hours of this garbage. Next week it's going to probably be 10 hours of garbage, 3 for Raw, 2 hours for SmackDown, and the Royal Rumble pay-per-view is, you know, you're going to have 2 Rumble matches. This thing's going to be 5 hours, folks. 4.5 hours. The Royal Rumble already, I think, is a 4-hour event, a 3-hour event. On the network, it doesn't matter. You know, the times are crazy. Sometimes pay-per-views like Hell in the Cell were like 3.5 hours. Like, you know, I mean, it's going to be rough. It's going to be real rough. And then they're telling you that you should watch this stuff on Facebook. Who even? This inconsequential garbage. It's really weird. It's like, they're doing stuff on the side with the mixed match challenge. They're showing it kind of in a commercial format. It doesn't have any effect on the rest of everything they do on their show. What are these weird rules that they have? Like, they want to keep it separate from the main show. It's like, how unbelievable. It's a fake show, but I mean, this is like, it's like, I've explained, it's like on The Walking Dead. You know, all of a sudden, okay, we have the main show where Rick and Negan are enemies, but we want to do a special show on Facebook where they're going to be palling around like best buds. I mean, that wouldn't be acceptable in any other format or any other show with any other characters, but for some reason, it's perfectly acceptable among the fans on the internet when it comes to WWE. I'm like looking at like, what is this? Braun Strowman is flipping over fucking semi-tractor trailers and stuff like this on Raw. He's going on a rampage. He's throwing a guy off the stage, you know, and then he's palling around with Alexa Bliss in something that's not supposed to be related to the main show. How, you know, how could we take this product seriously? I mean, I'm not saying we have to take this, you know, seriously like oh my god, it's life or death. But I mean, man, if you're gonna write a show, at least put some effort into it. Make people at least not want to laugh at it and shake their head in disgust. The Riot Squad defeated Charlotte, Becky, and Naomi. It's funny because they picked the three girls that look like stars to get beat by the three girls that look like schmucks. I mean, you look at this team, it's like the poor man's version of what's it, Absolution on Raw. I said this. First they introduced Paige, then you had Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville come out. They all look like they're somebody. I gave credit where credit's due. After all these new acquisitions started coming up to the main roster from NXT, I knocked a lot of them. But at least I said with the Absolution, they at least look like they deserve to be there. These girls right here, I mean, who are they? And then when you see Liv Morgan getting the win, I'm left there just shaking my head. What the hell? Well, like you look at a girl like Liv Morgan, it looks like a fan that they took out of the audience, an Alexa Bliss fan. When they're like a little girl's trying to dress up like one of the wrestlers. That's what it looks like. It looks like Liv Morgan is like the biggest Alexa Bliss fan, and she's just dressing to be like her. But she's not as pretty, and she doesn't look as much like a star, and and the body is not all there to match Bliss. I mean, it's pretty sad. And before they sent her out there to debut, you would think that maybe at least they would take the precaution of like, oh, well, you know what? They look a little bit too similar. Maybe we should try to give her a different attire, something like that. No, send her out there, make her look exactly like the same girl on Raw. Go on and let's write something else for the show. Sarah Logan, I mean, I gotta also say the video that she did when they were doing the handy cam vids, those promos for the Royal Rumble. She had probably the dumbest of them all. What was that crap that she said? She said some senseless shit. Another reference to living in the woods. I mean, they could at least have her come out. It would be funny if, to do something. Maybe she'd come out there with a ferret or some shit like that. I don't know. Just get that hunting gimmick over. Do something. They could at least try to do something at least interesting with the girl. But all of these girls, like, they have no character. They look at Ruby Riott. First of all, the girl's hideous. She's so pale. She doesn't have any body on her. What is the point of having a girl like Ruby Riott? Oh, they're great wrestlers, Brad. Oh, are they? I don't really see anything that really makes them stand out in the ring. So they're bad with promos. They don't look good. What are we doing here? Well, it's obvious that they're supposed to be the SmackDown version of Absolution. And of course, now that Paige might be retiring, I mean, she is going to be retiring, but she might step away completely from WWE. There won't be any of these comparisons anymore. So, I don't know how they're going to get any new material because everything they do with Absolution, they do with the Riot Squad. I just can't believe that they're trying to get this team over when there's a clear difference of which team looks like the stars and which one doesn't. But according to them, I guess they wouldn't be in WWE if they didn't think they looked like stars. What is Triple H's deal? I don't understand this guy. He calls all these people up from NXT. Here's the guy, Triple H, that without a doubt, he looks like a star probably more than anybody. Now, I won't say that Triple H is, as much of a star as Stone Cold, The Rock, or The Undertaker. But this is a guy without a doubt that earned his spot. He's good. I like Triple H. I'm a fan of his. I might have talked trash about him in the past, but you can't deny that, wrestling wouldn't have been the same without Triple H. He's left an undeniable mark. People will say he did more harm than good, but, whatever. There's people that are better. He's not the best of all time. Is he a little bit over yet? But anyway, this is a guy that takes care of himself. We saw that this is a guy that came back from an injury, and he looked even better when he came back. Remember when he returned in 2002? I mean, what a miraculous return it was. He looked even better than he did. Triple H, exemplifies what it means to look like a wrestler, right? Triple H, you look at him, you know he's a wrestler, you know he's a big star, you know he's somebody. Even if you didn't know who he was, you saw him walking down the street, you knew that this wasn't just a normal, everyday guy, not an everyday schmuck, right? Not a guy you'd see in a bar, but a guy you'd see walking through an airport, and you knew he was coming from somewhere important, that he's some type of star, he's some type of celebrity. So with that in mind, and we always hear Triple H's ego, his ego, his ego. So if Triple H had that big of an ego and he thought that highly of himself, wouldn't he compare all those talents to himself? Because if he's the best of all time, he is the game, right? And I'm not talking about this in a kayfabe, from a kayfabe standpoint, but he is the measuring stick, right? Triple H is what it means to be a star, right? So you look at Triple H, and then you look at all the people that he goes to bat for. The Sami Zayns of the world, these hugging Kevin Owens, calling up all these people like Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. And I'm saying to myself, what is it that Triple H sees in these people? When he looks at himself in the mirror, he sees a star every morning. He looks at these people and he sees stars. Triple H is a guy that worked with all the stars from, not just the Attitude Era. He was in the ring with the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania. He's in the ring with The Undertaker, with Kane, with Kurt Angle. All these people, all the biggest stars of all time. He was even in the ring with Hulk Hogan. And you're telling me that he looks at these guys and he sees them as the future? I mean, honestly, you're looking at people like Sami Zayn, and you were in the ring with people that had bodies like the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan and The Rock, and you're going to tell me that some slob like Kevin Owens is the future? There's something very, very wrong with Triple H's mind. I don't know what it is. Maybe he got more concussions than we know about. Probably worse than Daniel Bryan, because it doesn't seem like the guy is thinking straight. When you look at the Riot Squad and you see that they're being promoted as some big team, and they're going over the women that look like their stars, that do look like the future, a team that has Charlotte Flair on it, you know that there's a big problem here. And then you've got guys like Brian James who are writing this hot garbage, that are actually producing this garbage, that are the quality control of the show. Brian James, head of creative on SmackDown. You're telling me that this guy, who was active during one of the hottest periods in WWE, actually thinks that it's okay to how things are going here? You're telling me your Royal Rumble main event is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? In a handicap match? You're telling me that the Riot Squad are a team to look out for in 2018? You've got to, this is a team of people that I don't get. I don't know what goes through their head on a daily basis when they write these shows, when they look them over. I don't know. These are guys I thought back in the day knew what entertainment was about, that they knew what it was to be a star. Road Dogg, coming out, the New Age Outlaws, cutting that promo. He knew what it was like to work a crowd. He knew what it was to entertain. He knew what it took to pop a crowd, to get them excited, to get them to tune in. Both of them did. Triple H, all of them I mean, you know, McMahon has the experiences. He made a lot of mistakes in the past, but he knows what it takes to make a good show. But somehow it's like all that knowledge that he had has just drifted away. I don't know what it is. These people got hit on the head too hard. I don't know. It's concussions, whatever it is. There's something very wrong with this product, and the people in charge should know a lot better based on their previous experiences in this business. Then in the main event, it was Bobby Roode defeating Jinder Mahal. So, you know, it has to come to this. Someone's got to lose, I know, but, you know, I'm looking at it, it's like Jinder Mahal losing his match, losing the title, not even good enough to win a secondary title. We're hearing Wade Keller say, oh, at least Jinder didn't win. Yeah, he didn't win. So it's like, I'm very curious to see what their plans are for Jinder at WrestleMania. You know, some people are saying, oh, maybe he might win the Rumble. No, probably not. I hate to say it, but I see Naka Murphy maybe winning. You know, the way how things are going in this company, and I just went on that whole rant right there telling you about how everybody's got their priorities all mixed up, and you might say, well, it's WrestleMania time, and you notice that last year they kept away the indie darlings from the main events. You know, they played it safe. You know, we had Randy Orton, you know, in there and stuff in the title matches. You know, you had your Roman Reigns and Undertaker. So it was kind of like, you know, we're not going to take any chances. We're going to keep the people that we know as stars. We're going to keep them as the main, you know, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. They were playing it safe. They put the people who they knew who could draw in those main event matches. But now I'm not too sure. I thought that maybe when they had, you know, Brock and Braun Strowman, that they were going a certain way. You know, now it seems like they're going the other way. I just don't know. You know, why would you? I mean, Bobby Roode being U.S. champion, this is a guy that also looks like a star. It's just, he just comes in there, and he just didn't have enough fire behind him. When I'm seeing him beat Jinder, it felt like a very cold title victory. There's nothing about Bobby Roode since they put him on SmackDown that makes him seem deserving. We're told that this guy's glorious and that, you know, he's achieved so much, and anybody who didn't watch TNA wouldn't even know that. Oh, everybody watches TNA. Well, you assume they did, but TNA never really had great ratings to begin with. To assume that everybody's familiar with the career of Bobby Roode is, you know, you're just taking it for granted. You're giving creative an excuse to be lazy. There was nothing with Bobby Roode with outside of his feud with Dolph Ziggler that makes him seem like he was relevant at all. He just comes along and wins a title. Now, the thing is, at least with Jinder, there was heat behind him. You know, this is a guy that gets people riled up, so him winning would have had a bit more pizzazz, a bit more meaning behind it. So, you know, I don't know, guys. I take a look at this and I see a very, very sad state of affairs. This product headed it to WrestleMania. I mean, I find it depressing. I really do. I don't know where they go from here. They've backed themselves into a corner. Every year I should have known it got worse and worse with this product. WrestleMania season didn't feel like WrestleMania season. It felt like the build up to a minor pay-per-view. But, you know, lo and behold, we're already here again. WrestleMania season. And it feels the same way it did last year. It feels cold. It feels uncreative, uninspired, and just damn boring. Um, you know, the show featured a tournament that, like, I didn't even really care about it. I was like, I hope, you know, I kind of wanted Jinder to win it, at least something to kind of reboot his career after they ripped the title off of him unceremoniously. There you go, guys. WrestleMania season is here, and, you know, it just feels blah. It's been your YWC champ signing out.